I want to talk momentarily with you about the third wave. You hear people talking about we need a third wave, we need a third great awakening. And I'm going to read a page out of this book, Finney on Revival. He was one of the major evangelists of that great awakening. And this one page is going to explain what it is we're talking about. How to begin a revival. What is revival? A revival is nothing else than a new beginning of obedience to God. Just as in the case of a converted sinner, the first step is a deep repentance, a breaking down of heart, a getting down into the dust before God with deep humility, and a forsaking of sin. An individual once went into a manufactory to see the machinery. This was Mr. Finney himself. His mind was solemn, as he had been where there was a revival. The people who labored there all knew him by sight and knew who he was. A young lady who was at work saw him and whispered some foolish remark to her companion and laughed. The person stopped and looked at her with a feeling of grief. She stopped. Her thread broke, and then she was so much agitated that she could not join it. She looked out at the window to compose herself, and then tried again. Again and again, she strove to recover her self-command. At length, she sat down, overcome by her feelings. The person then approached and spoke with her. She soon manifested a deep sense of sin. The feelings spread through the establishment like fire, and in a few hours, almost every person employed there was under conviction. So much so that the owner, though a worldly man, was astounded and requested to have the works stopped and a prayer meeting held. For, he said, it was a great deal more important to have these people converted than to have the works go on. And in a few days, the owner and nearly all the persons employed in the establishment, about 3,000, were hopefully converted. The eye of this individual, his solemn countenance, his compassionate feeling, rebuked the levity of the young woman and brought her under conviction of sin. And probably in a great measure, this whole revival followed from so small an incident. This is what we must have. This is what we must carry. We must carry a spirit of solemn, sober holiness, the presence of God that convicts of sin, the holy awe of God. We must have that, saints, and we must spread it. We must spread it to be saved, to save our nation, to save civilization. If we do not spread it, doom is upon us.